Okay, start of the second turn. The Russians didn't do anything, so here we are, 4:30 a.m. Now, obviously, it's not absolutely clear what the Prussians are up to. They're sending quite a bit of apparent force into the woods, but also quite a bit up forward. Of course, if these forward units don't move much, the Russians might assume that what's coming through the woods is the main force. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. Kind of depends on how far this flank can get on movement. We had some ineffective units. The main cav and the infantry were both ineffective, so the Prussians were unable to march as far as I thought. I missed, in all the other scenarios, I missed a rule that in-column units don't have to pay terrain costs in general, except in swamps and the heavy woods like this. That definitely would have affected things in the last scenario, and maybe in some of the others as well. But in this one, well, now I'm actually paying for those, and that's how I found out about it is, gee, there's a special rule on that, that you have to pay 2 movement points for each heavy woods hex. What's up with that? So I looked at the terrain chart. Yeah, my fault, but I don't always process the chart as well. I've been caught on this kind of issue a lot of times with games where I miss something on the chart because it's not explained well in the rules. It's in the rules, but the rules are so frustrating that I understand how I missed it. Anyway, onward. 4:30 a.m. The Prussians are still staying out of range of the Allied forces. Mainly that just meant these couple columns here didn't move, which is leading, of course, the Allies to think that maybe they're being double enveloped and that those are fake units. It doesn't happen to be the case, but the rest are, there's definitely some real and some fake units all along the line, actually, which may seem kind of silly, but I kind of want to trick them. I'm not sure why, because the Russians are not going to try to activate. They're in a good defensive position. They don't really need it. Beginning of the 5:30 turn, actually nothing has changed. The Prussians got the Dragon Guns event, and rather than not get their guns up at the same time as everything else, they decided to take a rest turn and get rid of 2 of those fatigue markers. The Prussian attack, we're seeing the cav streaming through, coming out of the forest. Pretty heavy combined force. Oh no, that's all infantry, I think. Hitting right where the Russians have their strongest force, probably. And that's to be expected, but... And then a little bit of cav and some who knows what streaming down towards the Austrian side. Not sure we're going to use that directly there. The pivot is really on this center. I decided to hit them where they're likely to put their strongest troops, but try to hit them with everything at once and just break that end off, because it's the only exposed flank out there. Got a couple of Russian units that are out of view right now. Nobody can tell directly what they are, but it doesn't make much difference what they are, so I may actually deploy them just because they're the reserve and they're not likely to do anything too sneaky back there. They're all cav. And so the battle's about to begin. Here we are at the beginning of the 6:30 turn. Definitely were some interesting choices faced by the Russian-Austrian army. One of the big ones was, gee, all those Prussian units are in column. I could just rush out and attack. The Prussians came close enough to give a free army activation to the Allied army. So that was definitely a possibility, but the defensive terrain is so good that that seemed probably to be a bad idea. So I did a little bit of artillery bombardment, but unfortunately I made the choice to put the most forward artillery as the heaviest close range stuff. So they didn't get a lot in there, even with the extended range for artillery from above. The only really exciting thing I did was sent off what looks like, and may or may not be, a couple of cav units into the woods. An outflanking maneuver there, feint or real, might have some effect on how hard the Prussians can start their attack. What else is there of interest? Oh yeah, misunderstanding on, again, not reading the terrain chart well. I just don't look at them very carefully. I try to play things how they look to me. The wolf pits are a defensive bonus, and you really don't want your enemy in them. So I started moving the observation corps up to help take up the defense lines there, and it kind of makes sense anyway with the abatis there. I thought that would just be a movement slowing, but it also has a combat effect. One of the intentions is maybe to get one of the cav units up behind there where they don't have to attack, which is kind of cool. And I think a total misuse of the terrain type. So if you're familiar with what the abatis look like, they're these big crossed poles, basically, that make it impossible for cav to cross and very easy for infantry to stand behind and just shoot at the cav. So it's a great defense against cav. In this game, it looks like if you put cav behind the abatis as the defender, the attacker has to attack you, but you don't have to attack them, which is really kind of the goal of this style of game, is put yourself in a position where the other guy has to hit you in unpleasant terms. Yeah, sometimes he's leaving a flank out there and you can hit him, but that's just not how this style of game tends to play out. I find usually it's most effective to get the other guy to attack you. So that's going to be kind of problematic, I think, how it actually plays out. For whatever reason, I didn't move forward and take those abatis, mainly because I think I'm stupid. Yeah, I think I do. No. See, putting infantry in that exposed position didn't seem very pleasing to me, because they'd have to attack back across it. So I'm not seeing a great advantage to that, as opposed to the slopes, which are one-way advantage. Alright, so I think I made the right move not using the defensive terrain the way it actually was used historically. Well. So here we are at the 7:30 in the morning turn at Kunersdorf, the beginning of the turn. And we've got the beginning of engagement occurring, just long-range artillery duel at this point. Not a lot. We're seeing some casualties where on the Prussian side. And wondering why. Aha! I was wondering why I only had one fatigue marker there, because I forgot to move to this other one. Okay, so yeah, the Prussians had dragging guns again, which prevented them from bringing their artillery up quite as close. Anyway, I'm running out of time here, so we'll get to the fighting very soon.